Now, the second unit of your business is called the during unit. And the crystal clear goal is to generate a 50% referral rate during the process. Now, what does that mean? From the moment you meet the client until the time the transaction is complete, your intention is to have half of the people recommend you, introduce you, endorse you to a friend, a family member, a colleague, someone else who wants to buy, sell, or borrow, and you want them to do that before the transaction is complete. Now, there are three things that make this possible. And if you follow each one of these three strategies, what you'll discover is that you too can have a 50% referral rate during the process. Imagine that. Imagine what that would be like for your business if half the people you worked with introduced you to your next client before the transaction was over. And just think backwards in time. Think about when you started your career. What if you had been using the strategies you're about to learn since the very beginning of your career, and half of the people who had referred someone to you during the process, what would have that meant to you economically? You can probably feel the cost of not doing this, the lost opportunity there. Well, starting right now, from this moment forward, every time you're working with a person, you're going to ask yourself, is this one of the 50% of the people I'm working with that is going to introduce me to my next client? So let me show you the three strategies to make that happen. Number one is recognize the referral opportunity. See, the big opportunity in your business in the during unit to generate referrals is from the moment you meet the client until the time the transaction is over. That's the big opportunity. And seldom taught in our industry. What most trainers do is they teach people to casually ask for a referral when the transaction is over. They say, hey, by the way, you know anyone else who wants to buy or sell a house? And that's the missed opportunity. I just want you to imagine if you were to go back in your career and just think of all the people you have helped buy, sell, or borrow. Imagine if half of them had introduced you to your next client while you were helping them buy, sell, or borrow. Think about all the money you would have made if you'd been applying the strategies I'm about to teach you. But before we do that, think about all the money you've lost because you've not applied the strategies I'm about to teach you. So imagine right now that the big opportunity in your business is in the during unit. Now, for three different reasons. Number one is people like you most when you're helping them solve their problems. And in the during unit, that's what you're doing. You're helping them solve the problem of buy, sell, and borrow. And they're more likely to tell other people about you when they like you. Number two is, it has to do with the brain. It's called the reticular activator. The brain happens to notice things that are important to them while it's in their peripheral, it's in their life right now. So for example, my daughter Tracy was looking for a new car and we were talking about buying a Volkswagen, and all of a sudden we start noticing Volkswagens everywhere. I've been told that pregnant women happen to notice other pregnant women. Is that true? And when something is important to a buyer, like buying a home, they start to notice signs everywhere. When a person puts their home up for sale, they start to notice all the other homes that they're competing against. When they're not selling or when they're not buying, signs are just the landscape of the community. So understand that when you're helping a person buy a home or sell a home or get a loan, they will start to notice other people because it's important to them at this time. And then the third reason is you're in contact with them frequently. The average transaction has upwards to 100 to 150 communications, emails, phone calls, letters. And because there's such an intensity of communication in the during process, you have this huge opportunity to ask for and get referrals. So if you can recognize that this is the big opportunity, then you can apply the next two strategies to get 50% of the people to introduce you to someone that they care about before the transaction is over. The second strategy in the during unit is measure referral results. As you may or may not know, that whatever you measure, that's what you get. So what is your system for measurement? Let me show you the tool that we use and you'll receive inside your live main event kit. This is called a customer experience timeline. And this is a tool that you'll use in your business to measure exactly what's happening during the process with each one of your clients. Let me show you how that works. First, we take a technology called Post-it notes. I'm sure you all have access to that. And for each client, what you do is you assign a Post-it note to that client. And then you take that note and you put it on the line where that client is. Now, I may write the client's name on there. I could put their address, their phone number, whatever is important for me to remember. and I'm going to move this client along the line. So right now they're in stage 1, then I'll move them over to stage 2, stage 3, stage 4, stage 5. So I can walk into your office and I can see where all your clients are, what stage they're at. We call the first stage the honeymoon period. Stage number 2 is called the searching stage. Stage 3 is the decision. Stage 4 is details, and stage 5 is finalized. Now remember, the goal is to have your client refer you to your next client before the transaction is over. And the way that we create a visual to support that is that when your client refers someone to you, we take their note off in yellow and we put them up in green. So let's say that this client referred someone to you. We take them off in yellow, put them up in green, and then of course, if they've referred someone to you, we now put their referral up on the board in yellow. And I could walk into your office and I could look at your customer experience timeline and tell at a glance exactly how well you're doing in your during unit. And this tool will support you and actually even create a little bit of discomfort. See, if you say your intention is to get half the people to refer someone to you, and you look up at your board and there's a bunch of yellow Post-its and not any greens, you're going to say, what do I need to do today to go green? And that's one of the strategies that we'll work on in day 2 of the 3-day training is what are the exact tools, methods, strategies in order to help people go green. And when you get your main event workbook, you'll open it up and inside the front tab, you'll find your customer experience timeline. It's all laid out here for you. All you need to do is take it to your local printer, have them put a lamination on it, and then decide what wall are you going to put that on. Maybe you can even imagine right now in your office where you're going to have your customer experience timeline. Now, once you've set up your measurement tool, now the next thing is learn how to get people to introduce you to your next client before the transaction is over, and that's what I'm going to teach you next. The third strategy that you apply in your during unit is called magic words to get referrals. Now, magic words are words that you already know. They're words that you use every day in your life. And what I'm going to show you is how to put those words in the right combination so you can unlock the safe to your riches. I was in Florida recently, and we're walking into the grocery store, and there was a homeless fella sitting out in front, and he was holding a sign, and the sign said, "I'm hungry." And I walked up to him, and I said, "How's that working out for you?" And he kind of was startled and goes, "What do you mean?" I go, well, how are those words, "I'm hungry," are they producing the outcome that you want? Because I imagine what you want me to do is put money in the can, and I'm wondering how many people are putting money in the can. And he seemed a little aggravated, and he said, "Well, yeah, I'm doing okay." And I said, "Could I give you some magic words that might increase the amount of people that give you money by 10, maybe 30, maybe 50 times?" And he was, "Yeah, what are you going to do?" And I had to actually run into the market, and I got a marker, and I came back out, and I took his little cardboard, and I flipped it over on the other side, and I wrote these magic words. Now, if real estate doesn't work out for you, you might want to try this. What I wrote was, "What if you were hungry?" And I put that on his board, and I said, "I'm going to go into the store. I'll be out in about 30 minutes. Tell me how well you do when I come back out." Well, 30 minutes later, I came back, and there was actually 3 people standing in front of him putting money in the can. And he looked up at me just beaming. He's like, "Oh, my." He was so ecstatic. And I looked down, and there was money and coins flowing out of his little bowl there. And I knew that in that 30 minutes, he probably produced more results because he had the magic words. Even look at those words. Think about those words. What if you were hungry? See, what if you were hungry is all about the person who's putting money into the can. I'm hungry is all about the person asking for the money. And the way that the mind works is it first has a thought that creates a feeling that produces a behavior. So when I see the words, "What if you were hungry?" They're talking to me. I have a thought, what if I was hungry? I have a feeling, that doesn't feel very good. Now, in order to get rid of that feeling, I have to behave in a way that gets rid of the feeling. And the easiest way to get rid of that feeling is put some money in the can, and I feel better about myself. The words, "I'm hungry," creates a thought that says, well, why don't you get a job? Why don't you do something about that? Because it has nothing to do with me. It's only about that person. So what I'm going to show you right now is 7 or 8 magic words that you're going to use in your during unit to help people put more money into your life by having half the people refer someone to you before the transaction is over. So let's look at what are those magic words